Well, it's another awesome time for us to be together right here on Atlantic TV, and you do know his viewpoints. And as always, we always enjoy starting with the papers, so the dailies will kickstart our things as we push through another beautiful day together. And for review, as always, we have 7 papers. We have The Punch, The Vanguard, The Guardian will be guiding us through some dailies. As much as the Daily Trust, the Daily Sun, you do know the Nation, and ThisDay is making a return as we extra on what it will be giving us today. But you do know I always enjoy starting with The Punch, so I'll not change the ritual. On The Punch this morning, the lead story reads, ICPC team drills embattled DG inside police detention. We're still talking about the fake agency probe. It looks as if it's not going away anytime soon. Adeyemi's quiz for hours interrogation continues today. Rep to question Akume, Ribadu, Fagbemi, Dusu, Accountant General today. Controversial DG gets new lawyers. Atiku tackles Tinubu over phantom agency controversy. Don't make that controversy worry you, but just read it up and you get clear details on page 2. Trump hails Tinubu over anti-terror war. It's also a screamer on page 7. Police top list as ICPC uncovers 908 ghost workers. Wow. So some of those men on the road are not police officers. But anyway, I don't know. Read it up on page 27. The late justice, crowded cells, over 80,000 rot in Nigerian prisons, or should we call it correctional facility as it's being called now. But get it up on page 3. Let's see if we take some other leading ones still on the front page of The Punch this morning. Ondo Speaker gets Sunday deadline to resign or face impeachment on page 14. Crackdown on Curtis. Police arrest 3 seize firearms in Lagos. And that very good news is on page 4 and 5. Dangote resume Naira petrol sales, hike petrol by 140 Naira. And you will understand why he did that on page 21. But the picture of the day is that of top military brass and commanders of Operation Heidi K. And doing a daily operational effort and sacrifice of personnel serving at the air component in support of ongoing counter-terrorism operation in Maiduguri. And honestly, that picture was taken yesterday. And indeed, we are very proud of them and indeed appreciative of their sacrifice. But that's the much you can take from The Punch.
Let's check out stories making rounds on The Guardian newspaper this morning. And on The Guardian, the lead story reads, INEC helpless as LA campaigns flout electoral act and fairness rules, talking about 2027 presidential elections. There's a major one on page 6. Oil nears $100 per barrel as marketers resume petrol loading on page 2. Nigeria solar market hits $2.4 billion as African attracts $13.5 billion renewable energy investments. You can get more of that on page 3. Dangote returns to Naira says raises ex-depot price to 1,215 Naira. This is on page 2. Let's see if we can get more of the leading ones still on the front page of The Guardian. Court finds poverty keeping Nigerians prison congested. That is according to NHRC's on page 5. Presidency pegs yearly power investment deficit at $11 billion. It's a major one on page 15. Controversies trade 2026 budget amid palace church allocations and delays is on page 6. Payroll fraud. Police top list as ICPC uncovers 908 fake workers. Wow. It's on page 5. Oshun Goba pools. Parties cite fresh concerns over electoral integrity and violence on page 7. World Day Against Trafficking. NAPTIP says 300,000 trafficked in $64 billion scam. And it's on page 5. Zenith wins Africa's best bank, retains industry award. Well, it's an interesting one on page 18. Let's quickly go to the picture of the day. There are 2 major ones, but I'll be going with the one at the top. That is the graphic representation. You can see the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Peter Obi, Atiku, and others. And it's more of a supporter of the lead story. Well, that's what you can take from The Guardian this morning.
Well, The Nation will definitely be the next paper I would like to look at. And on The Nation this morning, well, the lead story reads, Tinubu decisive blows on terrorists excite Trump. Well, anyway, a lot seems to be exciting the President of the United States. But riders to follow, U.S. President pledges more supporting letter to Nigerian leader. And anyway, many Nigerians are happy. They seem to be on the offensive rather than the defensive. But anyway, get that story up on page 2. Euro money affirms Zenith as Africans and Nigerian best bank. Wow. And that's very exciting news to members of the Zenith families on page 3. CBN Bank must now support productive sector. It's also a screamer on page 2. Oye Bamiji to vote, don't be, or rather to voters, don't be deterred by violence rumors. Give APC candidate chance because of his policies. Court stakeholders threaten withdrawal of support for Adeleke. But all of that you can get on page 4. Let's see if we take some other leading stories still on the front page of The Nation this morning. 5 Southeast governors back Tinubu's re-election. It's also a screamer on page 30. Otedola tightens hold on first holdco with about 7.59 billion naira shares acquisition. Wow, he's indeed the largest shareholder as it concerns First Bank PLC. But get that story up on page 7. 2 million loan offer, that's 2 million naira loan offer opens for young entrepreneurs. And you can get that on page 25. Fubara gives nod to Chinda, other Rainbow Coalition candidate in River, is also a major one on page 3. But the picture of the day is that rage of excitement as our military, especially that of Operation Haideke, is making a round and ready for combat action against those terrorists in Maduguri. And that picture was taken just yesterday. That's the much you can take from The Nation.
And still on Dailies, let's check out stories making rounds on ThisDay newspaper. And on ThisDay, the lead story reads, Trump to Tinubu, US stands firmly with Nigeria against terrorism, reaffirms commitment to nation security, stability, counter-terrorism efforts. And you can get more of that on page 8. Still on the front page, Nigeria's oil benchmark tops $95 amid escalating Middle East conflict on page 32. Uzodimma, Southeast governor, have agreed to work for president in 2027 hold, says president has done well for zone. Well, still a major one on page 8. Let's see if we can take more of the leading ones still on the front page. Above the plate names, Zenith clinches dual honor at 2026 Euro Money Award, emerges Africa's top bank in Nigeria's best. It's a sherry one on page 8. Femi Otedola buys fresh 77.6 billion naira worth of first holdco shares, now owns 95% stake. There's a major one on page 5. And still on the front page of ThisDay paper, Airpeace in strategic partnership with Etihad Airways on page 32. And let's quickly see the picture of the day. Is that of the graduating ceremony of Wike's daughter from the University of Southampton, United Kingdom yesterday. Well, that is a sherry one, an interesting one. And with that, that's a picture of the day, and that's much we can take from ThisDay newspaper.
Well, let's quickly run to no other but Daily Sun and see whether they have some very sunny and interesting topic to give us. Headline it is, Presidency Article Fight. Ex-VP studied pass hunting him, apologized, resigned over PFIPC scandal, Article tells Tinubu. Well, anyway, I'll just tell you to read up that story up on page 6. I don't want to be part of their quarrels. Let's see if we take some other leading stories still on the front page of the Daily Sun. Payroll fraud. Police top list as ICPC uncovers 908 fake workers across MDAs is also a major one on page 6. 2027, Southeast Governor solidly support Tinubu re-election, says Uzodimma, the Imo State Governor on page 29. But let's see if we take some other leading ones. Senate moves to compel CBN and MPCL 39 orders to account for remittance, as accuses several agencies of frustrating legislative oversight. But you can get a full understanding of that story on page 26. Fubara backs Chinda as successor supports Wike, says, I'm back with our family. And you can understand why he has he made the retreat, and get that on page 6. Controversy over reps allocation of 780 million naira for evangelical instruments. And we wonder who will be playing that on page 26. Zenith Bank named Nigeria African Best Bank at 2026 Euro Money Awards, and the smiles are a reflection of it. And you can get that story up on page 25. But the picture for the day for me is that of the author of the book, Michael Awonifa, and a whole lot of dignitaries during the launch of the book, The Hebrew Story in Lagos. That happened just yesterday. Well, you can see former President Olusegun Obasanjo in attendance, and a whole lot of other Hebrew family. Well, it's interesting we still have them there. But anyway, that's the much we can take from the Dailies.
Trust you're having a good time here on Dailies as we check out stories making it to the headline on Daily Trust newspaper. And on Daily Trust, the lead story read, questions over 30 billion naira for palace and places of worship. Well, it's a major one on page 10 and 11. Phantom Council, Attorney General, NSA to face reps panel today on page 12. Father and daughter die in abandoned well. Well, wondering what they were doing there, and there's a sad one on page 12. How inmates allegedly ran car theft syndicate from Bauchi prison is a major one on page 34. Let's see if we can get more of the leading ones still on the front page of the Daily Trust. Rivers governorship, Fubara backs Wike's ally is on page 19. Zenith Bank wins dual laurel at Euro Money Awards on page 27. Dangote Refinery resumes petrol sales in Naira is on page 12. And the picture of the day is a graphic representation of the 2026 federal budget. Well, that's much we can take from the Daily Trust.
Well, anyway, talking about taking, let's go straight to the Vanguard, which will be the last paper for us to take. And on the Vanguard, Trump vows to stand with Nigeria in anti-terror war and a screamer. And riders to follow, applauds President resolve to tackle nation's challenge. U.S. pledges to notify jihadist threats in Nigeria, Somalia, Syria, and others. And OPHK drone strikes kill over 20 ISWAP fighters. Chief photographer destroy logistic hub in southern Lake Chad. But anyway, take that story up on page 5. Like I said, Dangote Refinery resumed petrol loading in Naira at 1,250 Naira per litre. No surprise, they are selling about 1,300 per litre as of this morning. But I'll tell you to get that story up on page 20. Zenith Bank wins African Best Bank, retains a Nigerian Top Banking Award. Well, kudos to the management of Zenith Bank, being led by a woman. Now you see what women can do with money is always interesting. But get that story up on page 20. Nigeria drops to 90th in latest global passport ranking. It's a major one on page 9. 2027 Obi Kwankwaso ticket dead on arrival. Sorry, I didn't say so. Ganduje seems to be saying that. As the Ganduje lacks credibility to speak for Nigerians, obedient movement is giving him that reply on page 26. Let's see if we give you some more. Igbo governors to fully support Tinubu in 2027, says Uzodima on page 13. I'm not a criminal. My life in danger at Chumogu is crying out that loud on page 9. Rivers 2027, Fubara declares membership of Wiki Coalition, a Rainbow Coalition. And my question is, does he have any other way to go? We'll get that story up on page 12. PFIPC scandal, apologize, resign now, Atiku battles Tinubu as APC replies, Atiku says, service-wide vote, not sludge fund, says Art on page 8. But let's see Mr. and Mrs. Column. Always interesting to, get comic relief, especially on this awesome morning. Mrs. has a word to say. You are the apple of my eye. Wow, that's romantic. And Mr. is saying, yesterday I was your sweet banana. Okay. Another day I was your cherry mango. Let's see the kind of fruit that I'll be when I get paid for the contract. Okay, you look more like pawpaw in the hands of Madame. But anyway, let's quickly take the picture of the day. And the picture of the day is that awesome book launch of no other but the Igbo story held at the Muslim Center, Lagos yesterday. And a whole lot of dignitaries were in attendance of that very book launch. But that's the much we can take from the Vanguard. And honestly, all the papers put